What's up, everybody? John from Old Reading Farm here. Thanks for joining us. In today's video, we're going to do a little bit of milling, but we are going to mill something that I have never milled before. So over here is a big chunk of elm. So this was dropped off by my tree guy, and I've never milled an elm tree before. I've milled almost, no, I can't say almost everything else, but in Connecticut, where we are, it's mostly maple, oak, birch. There's pine and hemlock, spruce, that type of thing. But I mean, you know, if you look around here, these are almost all hardwoods. I have one giant pine tree somewhere back there. I can't quite see it in the camera. Maybe this is it right here. You can sort of see it. And then there's a few hemlocks down over there, and cedar and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's hardwoods, and for the most part, it is maple and oak. I almost said like mokel, but maple and oak is what we mostly have. And like even, actually we have a lot of tulip. I have some tulip right here, but I'm pretty excited. I've never milled this before, and it was a standing dead elm tree. Because what I've learned, or what I've heard about elm, is that it's something, maybe it grows helically, where sort of it twists as it grows, which makes it, when you're splitting it, very hard. Because if the grain is not going in the same direction, then it won't split apart from itself. And so when you're splitting it green, because it's got that helical cone nature, it tends to split and kind of split like it doesn't split in like a nice straight line. It's more like a twist, which is bad for stacking and not fun to split. I've also heard that it's very hard. And yeah, so we got a nice big chunk of it right here. So yeah, I don't know. I was thinking, today I'm taking the day to do a little bit of milling. As you can see, we have plenty of logs. But I have a lot of projects coming up, and we have enough carvings set. We have a show this weekend in upstate New York. And so we have enough carvings for that. So now it's time to mill for some other projects we have, which include fencing and like the catch pen for our alpacas. So that's what I'm up to today. Let's enough jabber and let's get to it. It's funny, once I get it on the mill, and so for those, if you're new here, this is my Woodland Mills HM136MAX sawmill. So I can take a log up to 36 inches wide. I had to cut this thing down in order for me to be able to lift it up and put it in my dump trailer. So it was super heavy. And so I may just take a couple slabs off of this thing just to see what it looks like. But then I think I'm gonna cut this into 4x4s, because my concern is, well, it's shorter than 8 feet. So it's shorter than 8 feet, which is not ideal, obviously, for rails, but it should be good for posts, because it'll be long enough that I could get at least 3 feet in the ground and still have at least 4 feet above the ground. So that'll be enough for any of the fencing needs that I have. And yeah, I guess because if that twists as it dries, like, it's not that big of a deal, and hopefully it'll be, attached to support. We'll have to see. I want to take a couple slabs off of this too, to just see what it looks like. But so we're ready to mill. Let's get to it. All right, so it looks pretty good. I don't have any water down here, so I can't do like a water pop or anything like that. But it's interesting, I don't see anything super different in the grain here. I mean, you can sort of see, so here's the pith, which is the center. And so you can see, I don't know, it sort of comes up and then goes out. But this is also, there was a crotch right here. So you look at where there's these circular things. What you're really looking for is consistency, where there's like, you can see the grain all the way through. So I mean, this is pretty cool looking, but I'm not sure how it's gonna come out. But I got a big slab, and it's funny because it was so heavy before, but now like, I mean, this slab is not that heavy. So anyway, so I'm gonna roll this over, get a couple slabs from here, and then, yeah, we'll go from there. I'm pretty excited. This is going okay. It's a pretty sharp blade. It's not a brand new blade, but this is pretty hard wood. But so far it's going all right. There's some little divots, but nothing major. But it's creating pretty fine sawdust, which is then getting in my eyes, which is not fun. Anyway, gonna roll this beast over and keep going. Oh man, all right, so this is the slab, this is this beast of a log that I'm left with. I was trying to turn it to get it, you know, in the right position, but I just could not. It was too heavy. It's too heavy to get from this position where it's at. Oh God, the sawdust. The wind really kills me down here. The wind comes down from there. Maybe I should put a fence up, because man, that wind comes in and blows the sawdust, gets right in your eyes. It's the worst. And this, they call it the pea tree sometimes because it smells like urine, and it does. So imagine getting urine sawdust in your eyes. Not fun. But anyway, so since this is too big to get from this position to the side position so I could cut this top off, I'm just gonna cut some 3.5-inch slabs off of this. And then that way they'll be easier to handle. And so instead of getting one big giant beam out of this that I can then cut 4x4s out of, I'll just cut 4x4 slabs basically, and then cut them down from there. You'll see what I'm talking about. But so I think first I'm gonna try to get to push this onto that bunk right there. You see how it's not quite touching? So if it's not quite touching, there's a chance that it'll lean down a little bit and give me some wonky cuts. So I'm gonna see if I can just move it. And if not, I'll just have to use the tractor. All right, so first big slab done. And that was pretty rough. So I'm gonna change the blade. But so now I'll be able to just push this forward on the bunks, have it be out of my way. I should be able to get 4 of these slabs, because I think when I measured it, it's 15 inches from top to bottom. And then I can probably do 2 or 3, if not all 4 at a time, because then I can, instead of trying to rotate this whole thing, which probably is like 800 pounds, I can just set one up and then put the other one there and so on and so forth. So instead of turning it all at once, I turn it 4 times. And then I can cut off the top, flip them all over, and then cut off the bottom. So I have just like really long beams, and then I can just cut 4x4s out of there. I should be able to get a great amount of 4x4s out of this one log, which is tremendous. And then, yeah, so I'm gonna change the blade. I'm gonna do that, and then I'll check in with you guys in a minute. right, so my little fuzzy mic battery died, so apologies if this is windy. So after all that, I ended up with 16 4x4s and 10 2x4s. So 16 4x4s and 10 2x4s is a pretty good haul from that log. I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, overall that was pretty good. Man, that elm was super duper hard. And so the thing is, when you're milling hardwood, the blade has a tendency to dip and dive following the grain. And so I think because of however that grain grows in elm, it did a little more dipping and diving than I was really ready for. But again, that's fine. That's a pretty good haul of wood from that one log. I'm pretty happy with that. 16 4x4s will get me pretty far. So now I got some other logs over here. And, you know, I got some spruce and I got some other random hardwoods, but some of this hardwood is tulip over here. And it's a little too windy for me to mill easily, so I'm just gonna use it for firewood. But I got some nice big spruce over there that I'll use for some of the fence rails and other stuff, because I know I have a bunch of 4x4s already. So my next project is the catch pen for the girl alpacas. I think with this I should have plenty of 4x4s, so I think next up is gonna be 2x4s and fence rails, because I'm gonna have to build at least one small gate and then a bunch of fencing around. But I'm excited, did pretty good with this. Next up, some spruce, but that'll be in another video or not at all. And anyway, thank you guys for watching. See you next time.